Welcome. We will start this fantasy show off today. We already started one game already started. It was at Thursday. We had them Patriots versus them Buffalo Bills. I think the fantasy leader in that game was Stefan Diggs with 22. Could have had more, but he didn't. I think a touchdown was taken back in that game for Diggs. Obviously, Rashad Dick. Well, the whole freaking Patriots offense couldn't do much. Um, Also, Damian Harris was out in that game. I have shares of Damian. Damian hasn't been that great. I had a chance to get rid of Damian Harris, but I decided to go ahead and keep him, which wasn't a smart move, to be honest. I don't think Isaiah McKenzie did. Well, he didn't do terrible. He didn't do as bad as who was it? I had this tight end in two different leagues. Juwan Johnson, who's actually questionable at the moment. Actually, don't know what. I have him in two leagues, so that's not a great thing right now. And I looked. Ankle didn't practice on Friday. That's not good right there. Not great at all. But I think I have backup for him. Who do I have? Oh yeah, I picked up Tyler Conklin, New York Jets wide receiver. Hopefully for since we got the backup quarterback playing and not the Cougar Slayer playing, he should probably get you a couple of points if you're. I mean, he's a top 11 tight end. I play in a 14 team leaguer and in a 12 team. I'm messing it all up, but a 12 team leaguer. I played in two, so in both I had to get to a different white tight end. There was in another league, I had Hayden Hurst, who I had to drop because I didn't have a choice. So I dropped him off right like in the Sunday, right before the 12 p.m. games or 12 p.m. games started. So nobody would notice it happening and all that stuff. I guess I wasn't sneaky with that shit because um, pretty much was it Tuesday waiver wires were up or I think it was like it's 12 Tuesday at 4 a.m. So I totally forgot about it. Obviously, I wasn't freaking awake for that shit at 12 a.m. So somebody that I actually faced like 2-3 weeks ago, he ended up picking him up, and so I pretty much I've been in like I haven't been in a great situation with tight end, but everything else I've been pretty good in. Justin Fields comes back this week. Another quarterback, Deshaun Watson's back, ladies and gentlemen. Um, as y'all seen in memes about Deshaun Watson. Um, any other players? Aaron Jones was questionable, but he's been questionable half this season. I got him in a trade, which was great for me because I didn't think he would be that great, but worked out pretty good for me. Cordero Patterson's been on a slump ever since. I mean, Atlanta Falcons. If you have any Atlanta Falcons player, then you're kind of fucked, to be honest. Unless you have Mariota, because Mariota technically isn't as a regular NFL player. Marcus Mariota ain't too bad, but as a actually as a fantasy quarterback, Marcus Mariota ain't too bad. But as an NFL quarterback, I don't know. That guy is on and off. I remember him trying to do some slick shit, which didn't. I'll repeat, that shit did not work out for Marcus Mariota. I forget what game it was. I don't think it was against who was it? It was like 3 weeks ago. He tried while he was in the ground. He tried doing some slick ass shit, and that shit did not. I repeat, did not work out for him. Christian Watson. If you were one of those people who saw that, I mean, you pretty much were waiting for good waiver wire pickup and holding on to that number one spot. Which I did was I waited. I actually held on to the number one spot for 10 whole fucking weeks. 10 whole fucking weeks. I repeat, 10 whole weeks. All that is. Waited on something for 10 whole weeks. And after 10 whole weeks, I got to pick up Watson, who's been a somewhat, not really a savior, actually probably a savior because I had Mike Williams, who obviously after a couple of weeks, but I got him in the trade. But after a couple of weeks, that guy has been out pretty much since week. Let's see how long Mikey boy has been out. Mike Williams has been out pretty much ever since after his bye. When he had that week 7 game against Seattle, 21 points. Then he had that bad game against Denver, but who doesn't really have? I mean, top wide receivers usually have bad games against them Denver Broncos country. Let's ride. Even though they're fucking shit on the offensive side, they are not terrible on the defensive side, as we all know. Week 11, he came back, grabbed the ball, and it was a really nice catch. I'm like, oh shit, he's back. I had him on the bench because I wasn't about to take that fucking risk with a player who's just coming off injury. I usually never do that. I think unless he's like a fucking elite player, then there's a chance there. I'll probably take a chance, or unless I'm fucking desperate. If I'm desperate, I'll take the damn chance. But I wasn't in a desperate situation, and like I said, I added Christian Watson, so I was good. Plus, I have Juju now, too. Juju has been out for a good minute as well. Jamar Chase is another player that is scheduled to come back. Like, Jamar is one of those players that you could probably play since he's... I guess they were, like, taking it slow with him. I guess you could say that. Since they're not that bad, they as in the Cincinnati Bengals. Somebody in my league, actually I had him. I had Jamar Chase, but I ended up trading him away. I'm sure the guy who in my league is starting him because he's probably... Oh, there goes the ad. But he's most likely desperate and is probably going to need to play Jamar Chase. Let's see if he's starting Jamar Chase. He actually still has him in injured reserve. Maybe I'm wrong. I was hearing he was still questionable. Not good. I was totally wrong about that shit right there. But damn, his last game before he started killing it. So that trade would have looked bad for me if if he would have stayed healthy, I guess. But not really, because in that trade I got Cordero Patterson, but at the time he was killing it. Mike Williams, at the time he was killing it. And Aaron Jones, who's been a top 10 wide receiver. The guy I made the trade with technically got... Who did he get? He pretty much got Kadarius Toney, who ended up getting traded to the New York Giants. And he got somebody else from me. Where's this guy's freaking player? Oh, he got Dameon Pierce. But my train of thought for that situation was Dameon Pierce is a good running back, but he's on a team that's always down and that needs to fight back after a certain situation, which I was right because, there's a good chance I could have been wrong, but I was willing to take that chance. The other thing is I had him in 2 leagues. I was not willing to keep him in 2 different leagues and try to get rid of him when at the time he was actually playing really well, so it looked like it was a good trade on his end. Like, he was getting the best of it. But realistically, the only player in the whole trade he's been able to start is Dameon Pierce. I got the start all... Actually, I also gave up Antonio Gibson, but there was a reason. Because Robinson, Manzu got shot, came back to the 50 hits. He was... I was like just worried that he's going to come back, and he eventually, did come back, and him and Antonio Gibson have been sharing. But Antonio Gibson hasn't been terrible. He hasn't been terrible, He hasn't been giving you 250 but he hasn't been terrible. Like I said, he hadn't been terrible. This is probably one of his worst games. Actually, ever since that trade, he hasn't been terrible. He had an 8, he had a 6, and he had an 8. Everything else was pretty good. But still, just the worry factor. I was like, shit, I ain't about to keep him. But what I got, I feel like I won in that trade. But he already had a pretty decent team. Not that great of a team, but pretty decent team. If he would have probably kept his players, to be honest, he could be one of those players that's has like 3 losses or something. But hey, sometimes you got to take chances with your players. You got to take them chances. Josh Jacobs, Mans is a monster. I tell ya, he's a monster. Wayne, uh, he went for just one of his freaking runs went for almost like 80 freaking god dang yards. I tell you, 80 no, it's 80 or 90 or so freaking yards. It was a home run hitter. He got the dub for them Los Vegas Raiders. But Jacobs has a calf injury. Maybe this. I'm not sure if this is what he's been dealing with the whole freaking gabagoo. Um, but it's same practice in limited fashion this week. Raiders official site. So I mean, but he's one of those players that's a beast. But then again, it's contract year. I feel like he's proven that, he's pretty much what I'm trying to say. He ain't got to prove shit to nobody. Somebody's gonna give him a pretty nice freaking contract, and I believe, they'd probably be stupid if they don't, as in the Raiders, because this man's a beast, and he's shown that he can still play through injuries and kill it. Um, Man, one wide receiver that's been killing. I don't know. I haven't really talked much about him, but Justin Jefferson. Everybody else has talked a lot about him ever since that Amazo catch he made. What team was that against? Was it the Minnesota Vikings? Oh yeah, that. To be honest, I didn't think it was the greatest catch because I don't know. I just had my reasons for thinking it wasn't the greatest catch. But when you watch it again, you're like, damn, that was a pretty nice catch. Because Stephon Diggs had a one-hander that was pretty nice in that game too, but it obviously wasn't just a level of catch and all that other bullshit. Another player that's supposedly come back, Joey Mixon. Joe Mixon. So people who picked up Samaje Perine, now you just have a player that's on the bench. Can you keep him? Should you keep him? I don't know, because there was quite a bit of players this week you could have picked up, like the Rook, Knight, Zonovan Knight, from the Jets, and then there was the Warren for Peace Buck. There was a couple of more too. Actually, it wasn't a couple of more. But those are the two top hitters. Then there was also Ty Johnson. Like, it's not sure who you needed to pick up, because there's also James Robinson in that freaking New York Jets running back room. Because I don't know. So he's available in 2 of my leagues, and I want to have room to pick him up, but I can't, because I'm just like, I have everything filled up, and I just have a feeling that he just might be the guy. But Zonovan Knight, he actually rushed for 100 yards. Ty Johnson got a touchdown. So I don't know. It's that freaking New York Jets running back room is fucking all over the place. So I don't know what to do in that situation. I think another player that was, I thought he had a problem, Devontae Schmidt for the Philadelphia Eagles. I thought he had some questionable situation going on, but guess I never really looked into that. It doesn't show that it's showing that he's healthy. He's healthy and he's ready to go this week. So I guess that's a good thing for Devontae Schmidt. In a way, AJ Green has been somewhat injured as well. Justin Herbert looking pretty nice now. He was actually running a little bit these two past couple of weeks. One thing I have is Justin, and I have both Justin Fields and Justin Herbert. So in this situation, since I'm in in one of my leagues, I'm down to, or I'm in the situation where I have no choice. Pretty much, you got to start what you think is going to get you the most, and I believe Justin Fields is going to get me a bit more than Justin Herbert. So I'm gonna go ahead and start him. Shit might cost me the league, in that league, but hey, I'm pretty decent in my other league. So that's the good thing about being in two different leagues and shit. If you're fucking up in one and then the other, you at least have some. Is what I'm trying to freaking say. Dalton Schultz, another player who's somewhat made a resurgence. Not really a resurgence. Dak Prescott obviously is playing, so he's been playing better. Uh, Obviously wasn't playing too good with Cooper Rush. He had a 17, a 5, and a 19 game, so that's pretty good. If I wouldn't mind having him in my freaking team, but I don't. I have Juwan Johnson, who got 0-0 for two I'll tell you, two freaking different leagues. I thought it was such a smart idea having Juwan Johnson on two different freaking teams. But like I said, I didn't really have a choice right there. Um, another player, Shandis. Miles Shandis, man, RB 13. Who would have thought? With Boston, is it Boston Scott, Gainwell being in that backfield, you're like, man's they're not, or he is not going to be that great. I mean, the past three games technically haven't. I mean, the last game against Green Bay, but then again, who hasn't been doing so? I mean, most players have played pretty good against that Green Bay Packers team. But against Washington and Indy, he had 5-5. But it's better than 0, so you got that. Josh Jacobs is the man. User 75199. I just seen that. I don't know. But yeah, Josh Jacobs is pretty good. But there's other running backs that have been pretty good. Ramondre Steven being one of them, even though last week he was pretty bad. One somewhat not really a surprise of not surprise of a freaking wide receiver, I guess, because like I said, not really a surprise, but Joshua Palmer been uh pretty much showing that he's pretty legit, pretty good actually with that 30-point game. But Mikey Williams is not playing this week, but Keenan Allen is. So this week he should still probably be a play. You could probably put him in flex. I'm in a 14-team leaguer, so somebody is actually starting him this week. His name is Suicide Sniper, so that tells you something about him and his team right there. Not sure which one of my mates that is right there. And I'm not seeing if he's projected to win or not. Oh, he's not projected to win. He's projected 96.2. But the other player had already Ramondre Stevenson playing. So there's that for you. Jalen Hurts has been nice. One, you could say bust is Alvin Kamara. If anything, most people probably thought Alvin Kamara would be a bust because of one reason. Because of that charge he had back in, I don't know when the hell that was. It was sometime last year or so. He had the situation where he punched somebody in the face, which isn't cute, but he did it. So yeah, somebody actually sent me a trade. Believe it or not, somebody sent me a trade where they took away Travis Etienne and and they also took Alvin Kamara. They gave. I mean, I took Cordero Patterson. I don't know if I, man, for a long time I was a doubt a Cordero Cordero. The way I just said it was different. Cordero, but I'm like, why not? You know, he was. This is when he was just come back from the injury, but man, freaking Atlanta. Most teams have one, two, or three. Freaking Atlanta goes and puts fucking full. I'll tell you, it's full running backs in the backfield. Like, come on, man, chill the fuck out with that. You're ruining it, man. You're ruining fantasy for us. Putting freaking four running backs. Like, where are the points? You know, you might as well play in a fucking 20 leaguer. You know, if they're gonna be putting out this many god dang um, running backs out there. I mean, all teams, you know, obviously now have two to three, two, and then they have the third who does a little bit of here and there. Um, a lot of teams do that. I'm not gonna say every single team does that, but a lot of teams do that bullshit, which isn't super cute, but whatever. You know, like the 49ers have like pretty much like 20 fucking running backs. Injury, get your ass in. Injury, get your ass in. They just be putting them out there like fucking babies out there. Bow. Anything else? I don't think there's anything. I didn't even really look into games. I think I might just go ahead and call it games. We got Bears, Packers. That's a good thing for fantasy, I guess, since I don't know. I was kind of thinking that Jordan Pooh was um top three QB picks this week. Ooh, that's um that's a situation there. I don't know. I have Justin Fields, so I would want to say Justin Fields, but top three QBs. That's weekly. I don't know. It depends on the matchups and all that baloney, but I'd have to look. Obviously, Josh Allen already played, and Mac Jones already played. Lamar Jackson against Denver. I don't see that being too much. Joe Burrow against Kansas City. That actually might be pretty good. It could easily be Joe or Patrick. Um, Jalen Hurts against Tennessee. I don't know. Tennessee doesn't. I don't feel like they give up too much. Two against 49ers. Another stingy defense. Kyler Murray against bye week. Uh, you don't get anything in there. So there's that. Aaron Rodgers against Chicago. Could Aaron Rodgers, you know, now he has his wide receivers. I don't know if Dobbs is coming back this week, but he has pretty good stable of guys. But I'm not going to put Aaron Rodgers in there. Tops. But easily I could say Joe and old boy Patty. I don't know. Those guys seem like they're number one or two or one. Marcus Mariota is weird because like this guy could have a bad actual NFL game and then have a really good fantasy game because he could probably get you two touchdowns and I don't know, do a whole bunch of bullshit. Deshaun Watson. Oh yeah, dang! I totally forgot about Deshaun. Um, Charges Watsons. I totally forgot about him. But yeah, actually, Deshaun Watson, I'm going to go ahead and say, is 100% on that list of players. But then again, he is come back from a long time being away from the game, you know, at like, what is week 13? But he has been practicing. He has Nick Chubb, he has Cooper, and he has Donovan Peoples Jones. I mean, if they could do that well, if those guys can have pretty good catches with Jacoby Brissett, they're probably going to have some good catches with Deshaun Watson, who's a freaking monster.